to a successful VBC experience for everyone. These are my 7 keys. I don't know if they work or not, so let me know, and we will, then I might change it for next year. So, all right, here we go. Number 1 is to establish guidelines, and that is for your classroom and mostly for your children and campers in your room. And we have given you some suggested guidelines as far as in your curriculum you can look at, and I think Amy will have some of those for you too for Rainbow and Butterfly. But these are just good guidelines to establish. We have some suggestions in there. You can use those or you can tweak them. But I think it's really important that the first day that you kind of go over what your expectation is of your kids. And obviously you want to make them age appropriate and go over those with them each day with the kids. And then also just maybe remind them what happens if they don't follow those expectations, okay? And these expectations can be as simple as, when I'm talking, everyone's listening, or we're going to stay together as we rotate, we're going to treat others with respect, we're going to, have fun. If someone's messing with your phone, come talk to me about that. And then as far as what you do if they don't follow those guidelines, you can kind of go over that. Maybe they sit out for a little bit, maybe they sit next to you in the drama time, whatever that might be. But just kind of going over those so there's an expectation of how they're going to act and behave. Because as they get more comfortable with all of you as the week goes on, then those are going to be very, very important to come back to and just re-emphasize with them. So that was number 1. Number 2 is to connect outside of teaching. And this is for you as leaders to connect with the kids, not only when you're teaching, but as you're rotating, as you're sitting with them in the drama. And this is especially important if you can sense someone might be going to have a behavior issue or a challenge that week. I find if there's someone there a kid that's in my group that I might be having a challenge with behavior-wise, if I can get to know them a little bit outside of our teaching time, just kind of become their friend, hang out with them a little bit, that they might respond a little bit to my direction in our classroom or in a more formal setting. So you want to make sure that you get a chance to connect with them. And I know sometimes it's tiring, like when you're in their station to, in their mission stations, to take a break for a little bit, but sometimes it's important to be able to hang out with them a little bit too. And then for all those youth here, this might be a really key thing that you can be doing, like hanging out with the kids, because I have some 2nd graders that are part of VBC and just how awesome they think the youth are. So just to be able to hang out with them and do the station with them, to play the game with them, to take part whenever you can, just to show them that you care. You're not just there to just teach, but also to get to know them a little bit. All right, so that's number 2. Number 3 is don't stress. And that is, don't stress if things don't go the way you had envisioned them. It's okay. Because you have this great plan about how things are going to go as far as the curriculum. We've got it kind of laid out, and it may not work the way you think it's going to work. And that's okay. Don't stress, and just make your way through it as best you can. And hopefully as you go through the week, you're going to find out a little bit more about your kids and what they're like and how things would work and how things won't work. And so maybe you can tweak things a little bit as you go on and kind of say, oh, this definitely isn't going to work. But maybe if we all sat on the floor in a circle or did something else, that this activity might work. But don't stress if things don't go exactly the way you were planning them and envisioning them in the head, all right? Because that happens to me all the time. Number 4 is pray. I just encourage you as we get up closer to VBC to be praying for your fellow leaders and also your fellow your campers, not your fellow campers, but your campers. To be thinking about them. I don't know what point you get your roster, but if any chance you get to pray for them by name and just ask God's blessing upon them. Whenever I pray for things like VBC or Sunday, I just pray first off for safety, that kids are safe as they rotate through and doing all kinds of different things. And I just pray that they will hear the message and that it'll be something that they will be able to use in their faith journey as they grow in their faith, and a foundation for them. So just remember to be praying for them and to pray as the week goes on. And if you have a challenging student or challenging camper, to make sure you're praying for them as well, even though that's very challenging to do. All right, number 6 is proper pacing, all right? You want to make sure that you don't spend too much time on any one thing that's in the curriculum or in your classroom time. Remember that your kids' attention span is about 1 minute for each year they've been alive, all right? So even if something's going really awesome, you want to keep it going, cut it short while they're still enjoying it, all right? So, oh man, I wish we had done that more, instead of letting it go and go and go, and then pretty soon not everyone's interested, and then you're in trouble, because then that's when behavior issues start to pop up. So you want to look at things like, all right, how can I do this so it goes, I'm working with 2nd graders, so I got about 8 minutes with them, and then we're changing something a little bit. Maybe it's who's talking, maybe I'm changing where they're sitting or something like that. So you just want to make sure you have proper pacing through that, and we've tried to help you with that as well. And then number 6, Stacy already mentioned this, is a little bit, is establish your roles as a teaching team, figure out who's going to do what, and it could change each day. And just as you get closer to VBC, to be talking about, this is what I like to do, I don't like to do this, or I'm really comfortable doing this. And youth, make sure you find out what your role is too and offer what you are comfortable doing. When I'm here on Sundays, there are some youth who do an amazing job in the classroom and are comfortable teaching or leading a lesson. So find out if they're interested in doing that and give them that opportunity. Maybe not on Monday, or maybe on Monday, but maybe later on in the week, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, give them a chance to do one of those things. And then there are other ways that they can be involved too. Maybe they're keeping score, or they're getting some prep work done, or whatever it might be, but just make sure you establish a role so you come in and you know what's going on there. And then finally is, remember the crock pot. Now this was a great analogy until my wife got this instant crock pot a couple weeks ago. This thing that, for you who don't know what a crock pot is, it's like you put food in it and it cooks slowly for like 8 hours and it's all ready to go. And it's delicious, right? But now they come up with this instant pot that cooks things like super fast, like 30 minutes, and it sounds like a pressure cooker. But anyway, so you think about a kid's faith journey, right? And a lot of us, we think, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to make this enormous difference in 1 week in this kid's life. I'm going to see a huge change from day 1 to day 5. And when they leave, it's going to be amazing. And sometimes that's not always the case. Sometimes that's true, right? But we expect all our kids to kind of be like that microwave, right? When they're going to change really fast over 5 days. But that may not be the case. Instead, they might be more of the crock pot, where their foundation is still being built in their lives. They're still learning more about Christ. And this is going to be a foundation that they're going to look back on in a few years. Like, oh yeah, I remember VBC, and Mr. Jake was my teacher, and it was awesome, and I'm going to help out VBC this year because I just want to be just like him, all right? But Jake may never see that, right? It could be years before he even hears about it, or he may never see it at all, right? Yeah? So just remember that you're still making a difference, even if you can't see it right away.